I know M.W.A had the M.W.A Presents the Union
Mm.
album that was on Capitol Records, and I think a very underrated, underappreciated compilation. And for you, the experience of listening to people on the radio, then getting to meet them and work with them, but then now all of a sudden stepping into actual records, being on that compilation cover, you know, what was happening and how did that really manifest to where you took that step into it professionally?
Yes, sir. I have to give credit, not only a big thank you and a salute to DJ M.W.A. I also have to give thanks to Greg Mack because he's the guy that connected me with Tab Do, which Tab Do, TABB, the amazing boombox. He was from Philadelphia. He came out to Los Angeles and literally he was like, it was like, you know what's so crazy? And I'm just thinking, I just realized this right at this moment, was that I was like KRS-One connecting with Scott LaRock because he was literally at a home shelter when I met him. But I didn't know these things. I just, went with the good, I didn't judge. I just kind of like went with the flow. Greg Mack calls me one day and he tells me, yo, I got a rapper for you at Tab Do. And then so Tab Do calls me and then we start connecting and we just connect on the phone. We literally just had so many phone conversations that when we were ready to make that record with M.W.A and Jamming James, which was, James Calvin Carter with Lighter Shade of Brown, etc., of that fame, he was the guy that was working with M.W.A. So they had just got a SB1200 and M.W.A was working it. He was learning how to work it. James was there as a friend, as a co-producer, etc. So when we went to the studio, that was literally my first time ever going and recording a record. And I'll never forget, we stayed up all night. We drank coffee, you know what I'm saying? And I forgot the name of the studio where we were, but I was 16 years old. And all I knew was I'm going to scratch on this record and that's all I'm here for. And I don't care what happens after that. I don't need anything. All I really didn't even need the coffee. You know what I'm saying? It was just that type of energy that was built inside of me that I was ready for. And so I thank M.W.A for that because he didn't have to put me on that record. He didn't, and he accepted that. He was like, yo, and they created the record and they, it's funny because the two songs that we did was, one of them was called I'm Just Amazing. Oh man, I forgot what the other one's called, man. That one was dope too. He said, my DJ Ralph, what did he say? My DJ Ralph Fam's cutting the records like Charles Manson. Oh, that was a dope song. And then of course the amazing boombox. He had I'm Just Amazing. That was the first song. And we used the actual guitar riff. We were the first guys to use what came out. If you hear the sample, the guitar riff for Big Old Butt, LL Cool J. That was what we used with the 808 drum machine and 808 SB1200. So anyhow, that was like the amazing. I'm Just Amazing. Those are records that Ralph M. That's my first record that I scratched on Capitol Records at 16 years old, 1988. And we were. I'll just say one thing about M.W.A. M.W.A in the Union, or I say M.W.A featuring the Union, right? We were the antithesis to N.W.A because we had Romeo and Rhyme on that compilation. And even though they weren't going directly at N.W.A at the time, Romeo and Rhyme, the group, were. And so Master Rhyme was on that record because he was from Compton and he knew M.W.A, who of course is from Compton. And he wasn't, but he was still affiliated. So I'll never forget, like literally seeing N.W.A, like Ice Cube and Eazy-E and Laylaw. We're hanging out at UCLA and we're there for like a De La Soul Public Enemy 783 show. And we're out in the crowd and N.W.A runs up on us, right? And they're like, yo, what's up with that record? And I'll never forget this with Romeo, DJ Romeo. I was with him, I was with Jammin' James, and it was just us three. And, you know, we're hanging out at UCLA. We're at the Royce Hall getting ready to watch the show. And then those dudes come after us, but they were playing with us. They were serious, but then they were also joking. Like it didn't turn into a fight. It just turned into like, yo, hey man, when we see that dude, we're gonna knock his ass out, you know, because Master Rhyme wasn't there. But I never forget Eazy-E and them dudes, they ran up on us. Eazy-E had the big brick phone in his back pocket, Ice Cube, everybody that came up there was like, y'all are getting a free ride right now. Why? Because y'all dissed us and we have to answer you, you know, and then they had to answer because that record was getting big spin on K-Day, which was Nothing But a Fan. And that was the main record that was dissing Eazy-E. That was Romeo and Ron, but then we were affiliated, and so all that just came into, and I was the only Hispanic on the album cover. If you ever go back and look at the cover, literally, like right when N.W.A was the Crazy D, of course, you know, another Hispanic, with my homeboy too, with Tony A, Rhodium Radio, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were probably the three Hispanics that were probably, along with Tony G, Julio G, that were actually, you know, making our rounds, you know what I'm saying? Proving ourselves. And so that was an interesting time for me, man. And a lot of cats don't remember that because it was just it happened in that moment. And I'll never forget Tone Loc and N.W.A, they came out from the back of the dressing room and they ran up on Eazy and on Laylaw and Ice Cube. They was like, what's up? Y'all fucking with our homeboys. You know, but they were joking. And we all laughed about it. But they were, you know, for us, we were like, we didn't run. We stood our ground, and Romeo, I remember him standing up to Laylaw and Ice Cube and Eazy-E and telling them, like, he was like, yo, you can say what you want, but my man is not here right now. So, you know, you're talking to him right now. You could run up on us if you want, but you still got to deal with Master Rhyme. And Master Rhyme was from a set in Compton that was pretty heavy duty, along with DJ Aladdin. They were actually from the same neighborhood, which I didn't know till later. So they were, you know, they were from a neighborhood in Compton that was heavy duty, bro. And so, you know, I always reminisce about those moments because at that moment, I didn't know what was about to happen. And, you know, I realized that Eazy-E actually was cool with us, you know, and he was cool with Romeo. He gave him his phone number, told him, call me. You know what I mean? He was like, just hit me up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then they dissed them on Easier Said Than Done. They had to answer. And same on with Compton's in the House with MC Ren and Dr. Dre. They got a wacky whack record with a wacky whack crew. Wacky whack, that shit's wacky whack too. With a fucked up style and a fucked up flow. Yo, what about the scratching? Was it deaf? Fuck no. The motherfucking record was so motherfucking whack. The motherfucking Cracker Jack needs to step the fuck back. And Cracker Jack was literally the first record ever recorded, mixed, you know, and released on Delicious vinyl, along with Mellow Man Ace, you know. So, but that was the first records.
Well, speaking of Delicious Vinyl Connection, and since N.W.A, of course, worked with Tone Loc, I wanted to get when you did the stuff you did with for N.W.A Presents the Union, since N.W.A was also doing this Delicious Vinyl Tone Loc stuff that ended up being so huge. Did he give you any early pointers or things to look at on the business side or the creative side that really lasted or really gave you some insight as you moved into Funkdoobiest?
With N.W.A, I'll say that I learned a lot from him just being around him and seeing just at that moment, he was transitioning into the production. So I saw those I saw that moment. I saw when he got his SB1200, you know, and I saw how he was doing things. I wasn't there when he made the beats for us. I just heard him. I just heard the beat, and it was like, Tab played it for me. He's like, yo, here's the beat that N.W.A made for us. And I was like, okay. He was like, yo, we got to some scratches. We got to find some scratches. And then I started listening to stuff, and then that's how we came up with certain stuff like I Am, Ralph M, Kickin' Flavor, you know, when I was in the studio, Jamin James was like, yo, you should do this. And he was like, okay. And I was just practicing. I was just trying to be as sharp as I could. after they recorded the lyrics, because I heard the beat, then I heard I wasn't there for any of that production. I was just there for the lyrics. I mean, for the scratch session, and I was literally like at at like 2 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like I was up all night. I'll never forget this shit with Doug Young. We were hanging out and we were handling business. My thing was excitement. My thing was like, yo, what are you gonna do? Are you ready? And when we got to that point, I saw how he got down on certain things. You know what I'm saying? And so with N.W.A, whatever I saw from him, I just absorbed it. Plus, I was the guy who gave him the turntables when he did the performance on Arsenio Hall with Tone Loc when they did Wild Thing. Those are my turntables. He literally was like, "Yo, dude, I'll give you what did he say? He said, I'm gonna give you $200 to borrow your Technics 1200s, right?" And then I was like, okay. And then I'll never forget, man, the whole entourage came. It was like they were getting ready to go record at Arsenio Hall. And so I wasn't even there. I'll never forget, dude. I had to go. I think I was at K-Day. I was at home. I wasn't home. And my mother, I left the turntables at the house. And I was like, yo, they're gonna come pick these turntables up, give them to him. He's gonna give you $150, and then just give him the turntables. So they came, like in a long entourage. I remember my mother told me, she was like, yeah, it was like 6 cars or something. And they all came, and he came and picked up the turntables and stuff. So those were the turntables that he used for the Arsenio Hall performance. It took me a long time to get those turntables back, man. Let me tell you. But those were some of the things that I saw. And Tone Loc went to Fairfax. I went to Fairfax. I went to Los Angeles High School. Tone Loc, of course, he's my elder. But I was very thankful that I got those credits on the back of on that album, on the Loc After Dark. You know, he gave me a credit on there. And all the DJs out there, all the the people that read liner notes and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Check that, because Ralph M is definitely in there for 1988 for sure. 1988, 89.
Yes. So then what happened to where you guys formed, and what made you guys form Funkdoobiest then?
Okay, so Son Doobie, Jason Vasquez, went to Fairfax, 1989. He's class of 89. Okay, I started, when I became a mix master on K-Day, I was going to Los Angeles High School. And so that was an exciting time for me as well. So, but I had to transition. I said, this is too crazy for me. It just felt like jail there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just too much of the same. I was used to all different types of people around me. So I said, I got to go to Fairfax. I got to make sure. So by the time N.W.A and the Union hit and K-Day, for me, I was going to Fairfax. So 1989, I'm class of 90 at Fairfax. But in 88, 89, at the tail end of 88, 89, I start going my 11th grade year. And that's where I meet Son Doobie. Oh, Jason Vaz, or Son, who later became Son Doobie, right? And it was a trip because he saw me. See, Muggs and Son Doobie, they saw me on the N.W.A and the Union record. So they were like, oh, who's that dude? And Son Doobie saw me. He's like, yo, I know that dude. He didn't know me. We didn't know each other yet, but he was like, yo, that dude goes to my school. That was, I guess, the benefit of me just being in that picture. The same guy that took the N.W.A pictures took the N.W.A and the Union pictures. Oh, that's wow. The guy that you see on the EP who's he's like literally holding, the daughter's eating the watermelon and he's shining the shoes for N.W.A. That guy, he was a cool Eric. I believe his name is Eric. That guy took the pictures for N.W.A and the Union. So we had top-notch things going on. And they saw, those the cover art, album cover pictures, etc. And so that's how Son Doobie knew me, but we never met. And then later, as like the fall of 89 started kicking in, that's when we kind of gravitated towards one another and started conversing. But it wasn't like, oh, yo, hey, yo. It was nothing like that. It was like a gradual, natural progression. That's how we met. And then from there, I never took for granted that people knew me. I was always friendly, you know what I'm saying? And so when I met Son Doobie, we just talked about music. That's what it was about. you know. And then we had a common friend, which was Muggs, and he was Muggs's best friend at the time because he was there with Muggs every day. That was like his little brother, you know. So for me, I was like, yo, again, I gotta be with the best. You know, the same mentality as mix masters, you know, K-Day mix masters. I knew that I had to be with the best. And those guys were brewing and developing into becoming the best. And so I knew when I heard Cypress Hill, when I didn't have to hear much, when I felt the energy and saw what Muggs was doing in the development of Cypress Hill, I was sold. I already knew that I had to be with them. And I, you know, of course, Muggs and I, like I said, you know, we all developed a great friendship, and I'm very grateful for them also, because with them, I have times that I'll never forget, man. Those are the times that helped me develop, you know, and that, all of those things, as a producer, as a DJ, as a music enthusiast, you know, and my listenership is strong, you know what I'm saying? And I'm thankful for them, to them, and, you know, I will always be, you know what I'm saying?
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Your MTV Raps with N.W.A.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.